Alright everyone, welcome back to another week of West Bergen Cooking. This week we're going to be making cake pops for my brother and sister's upcoming birthday. We're going to have to do it in a couple steps. We're going to have to make the actual cake first, and then we're going to have to make the pop and the icing part of it. So, just to get started with the actual cake portion of it, we're just going to be doing just a normal out-of-the-box cake mix cake, nothing really terribly fancy. So, let's just get started. So the first thing that you should do is have your oven preheated to 350 degrees, or you can heat a shiny metal or glass pan to 325, and we're going to grease the bottom of a 13 inch by 9 inch pan, and you're going to grease all sides of any other pans that you'll be using. So basically, we're just going to grease the bottom of a pan like this. We normally use this for pie, but we can use this for cake as well. We'll grease the bottom of this, and we're going to grease the bottom of our other pan in order to make the cake portion of this. I've never actually made cake pops before, so this is gonna be totally new. But yeah, let's get right into it. The next thing that we're gonna do is actually go into our second step. Our second step is that we're going to have to mix the cake mix, the water, the oil, and the eggs in a large bowl. So what we're going to be using is we're actually going to be using a half cup of vegetable oil, 3 eggs, and a cup of water, along with our cake mix here, and we're going to beat that on medium speed, or we're going to beat it vigorously by hand for 2 minutes. I have a stand mixer here, though my assistant sister over here is using a hand blender. Either will work. So I'm going to get out the proper measurements that I need in order for my cake, and then we'll move on with that step. Oh, I missed the cups. Okay, so first we'll just move the first part of this. Even though the box describes to use vegetable oil, I'm going to use canola oil instead, and we're going to get a half cup of that. Half cup of canola oil. I'll need a cup of water, so I'll get that straight from the sink. I'll get 3 eggs in here, whites and yolks. 1. I won't have any shell to get in there. 2. And I'll grab a third one at that. 3. That's 3 right here. Alrighty, now I'm going to move on to the actual cake mix itself. After I rinse my hands, of course. Whoop, I have some trouble opening this. It's fine. Of course, I just get some scissors. Scissors are always good, thank you. And then cake mix in. We don't want we want just the cake mix, not the bag. You don't want the bag in your, it might actually be simpler. If you do this at home with your own stand mixer, I recommend that you take the hook off before you actually try to put your cake mix in. There we go, that's our wonderful cake mix in right there. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to grab an extra spoon, and I'm just going to scrape down, just a little spoon. I'm going to scrape down the sides of the bottom to ensure that all my cake mix actually gets incorporated into the egg mixture before we actually start beating. So now, I have my water, eggs, and canola oil. I'm going to beat this at medium-high speed. Sorry, let me just check. I'm not sure if it's medium-high. At medium, not medium-high. Or beat vigorously by hand for 2 minutes. So right now the recording time, the recorder timer says that the recorder timer says that it's roughly 5 minutes 56 seconds. So I'm gonna wait till 6 minutes and then start at medium speed. Lock. Whoop! That was a disaster. Locked. I don't know why it just blurted out. There we go. I guess I just had some that exploded and the rest of it's not exploding. That was really weird. But you know, I guess that's just what happens when you're cooking. I'll go rinse that off. Well, I guess we had a mini explosion, but that's what happens, so... Never had that happen while cooking before, but you know... What are you gonna do about it? We're 30 seconds in, so we'll beat for another minute 30, and then we'll be ready. Right now, we're gonna beat for another 40 seconds and we'll be good. Do a little cleaning as we go while I pick up the rest of this cake batter. This cake batter mixture that just totally, I guess, just left out of the cake batter. Okay, 15 seconds left. I think I'll have to speed just a little bit. But everything overall looks beaten in, so we'll be okay. What you really want is the consistency to make sure it's incorporated. So 2 minutes have passed. Unlock. I think we're at the right consistency for cake batter. If I'll just bring my computer over for a second to show you where I'm looking. This is the type of consistency that's ideal. It's still a little liquidy so that we can pour it effectively. Or it's still liquidy, but it's viscous and not really... It's viscous. It's not a liquid like milk would be, but it's not a solid either. We've hit just the right consistency. Now what I'm just going to do is take my spoon and scrape down the sides of my handle, my stand mixer handle, so that I can ensure that I get the maximum amount of cake batter and that as little as possible stays on the stand mixer handle. Then I'll also scrape down the sides of the bowl to ensure that I'll scrape down the sides of the bowl like this to ensure that as much cake batter actually gets into the as much cake batter as possible actually makes it into the final bowl. Alright, now what I'll do is I'm going to take that off, and my sister's spraying the bottoms of pans. So what you actually see here is both trays have been greased with Pam, and we can start pouring them in. So we're gonna pour half of our batter into each bowl. I don't believe we need anything on the bottom, like paper towel or anything like that. So we just pour it straight in. We pour roughly half and half. That's good for that. Then I'll get maybe I poured a little too much in there, but roughly this should be fine. I'll pour the other half in there. This way we have 2 cakes. Spread the rest out in there because you have a little trouble spreading. Here we go. What I'll actually do is I'll get my spoon from earlier, and I'll scrape down the sides of the bowl again to ensure that the maximum amount of batter gets into the tray. Look at all that. We would have lost this without the spoon. Now I'll get some over there too.